Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Frozen Council podcast. My name is Kyle Flory. We are recording this episode on Sunday, October 15th, 2017, and alongside me is the illustrious Nicholas Kennedy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Is your tummy full, Nick? Because I know you've been getting that chicken dinner.
Dude, I am in love with that game. Anybody, PUBG, buy it, play it. You got to have a partner, but I've been just feasting all week. It's been a lot of fun.
So, PUBG, as always, not surprising. Any other games that you've been playing this week?
I touched a little bit of WoW, kind of messing around. I've also been grinding out Counter-Strike a little bit, just having some fun. I've been in a real shooter mood lately, so that's why the PUBG and the Counter-Strike lately.
So we'll play some Overwatch after this, right?
Absolutely not. That's a kid's game. Ask the doctor.
Okay. All right. Also with us, Gregory Bay.
Hello, hello.
What you been playing, Greg? Hearthstone, I'm sure. Any other changes to the formula?
A little bit of Hearthstone this week. Not too much, actually. Just kind of feeling a little bored of it. Trying to find some new deck variations to try out, kind of spice it up a little bit. Besides that, though, a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, and on the accomplishment side, I was able to get all 120 shrines in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I'm one step closer to beating my goal for that game.
You're a madman.
But yeah,
I gave up. I gave up on that. That's just I saw the writing was on the wall. I was just like this. I mean, I respect the amount of content that Nintendo put in this game into the game, but I was like, man, if I stay playing this, I will be. I mean, you're still playing it. Shoot, the game came out like 7 months ago, so you're still. I mean, I know you haven't been playing it like super crazy, but the fact that you're still milking some time out of that 7 months later is still pretty impressive.
yeah, that's what kind of kept me coming back to it. It's kind of like the Skyrim of Nintendo. Just like right when you want to try like following that main storyline, there's like a little rabbit hole for you to crawl down, and then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's kind of what that game turned into for me. But besides that, that's really about it. It's been kind of a slow gaming week for me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I didn't play as much as I'd hoped. I tried a few little things here and there. There was a demo for Gran Turismo Sport for PS4. Tried that. I mean, that's, Gran Turismo fans know what they're getting into with that. If you either, you're either already a fan of it or you're not. It's pretty good. I was thinking about picking it up just because they aren't doing a loot box style thing like Microsoft's doing with Forza 7. But there's just too many games coming out. I was looking like South Park comes out on Tuesday. And then after that, we got Destiny 2 coming out on the 24th. Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, comes out on the 27th. Super Mario Odyssey comes out.
Speaking of, really quick, I'm going to jump in. Speaking of that South Park you were talking about, I don't know if you guys caught this week's episode, but it was supposed to be like a little tie-in episode for the upcoming South Park game.
No, I didn't watch it, but was it good? I mean, usually.
Yeah, it kind of returned back to the Coon and Friends storyline.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I'm hoping the new game is amazing. I loved Stick of Truth, so hopefully maybe I'll try to squeeze that in here somewhere. But played that. Still playing Stardew Valley on the Switch. It's awesome. I kind of started the wrong way, and I asked our friend Garrett a few little things, and he gave me a few pointers on what I should. I just very basic entry level questions about how to start out. That game's awesome. Golf Story on the Switch is also really cool. It's like a little golf game with kind of like an RPG story to it. That's really fun. And then just Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch mainly for Blizzard games this week. I think, I didn't even start up WoW, I don't think. At this point, I'm just waiting for Antorus, and it'll probably be a raid finder, honestly. My goal of trying to do some actual normal mode raiding this expansion really hasn't panned out, but that's pretty much the extent of things. I do want to also get back into Battle Chasers Night War. I did back that game and downloaded it and played the first maybe hour or so. Probably not even that, probably maybe first half hour. It's really awesome. Need to get back to that. So with that, let's go ahead and roll into the news, Greg.
Oh, I think we forgot a key member of our team.
Oh, sorry. Jeff, you're so quiet.
No, I'm just waiting for you. You're the one who does the intros usually.
That's
So,
true. Sorry. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the catch. Jeffrey Flory, my own brother. How could I forget you?
I don't know.
I'm ashamed.
Basically, I've just been doing Heroes of the Storm and Stardew Valley like you, and just trying to do those two. Been kind of feeling under the weather, so been not 100% up to gaming usually, and just trying to rest and get my energy back.
All right. Now are we good to move on to the news, Greg? I think so, but check me if we're not.
Unless we have a new 5th member of the Frozen Council, I think we're probably pretty good.
All right, let's do it then. Let's roll into the news of the week.
All right, so like the past few weeks we've had, this has been a pretty light news week overall. I mean, there's a lot of little things to talk about, but nothing huge coming out of Blizzard since BlizzCon is now, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, a little under. I think we're at 19 days now.
I can almost taste it.
Yeah, he's
So-
excited.
Yeah, every day just a little bit more. So just to start us off, though, for World of Warcraft, we got a few little nuggets here. This first one's pretty cool for those that are into the raiding scene. There is a player by the name of Mayani that was able to solo a normal mode Gul'dan on the Night Old. And that's a pretty impressive feat, considering that the Gul'dan is only, one raid behind what the current raid is. I believe and Taurus is coming up soon, but the most recent raid would be the Tomb of Sargeras. So the fact that we have someone that's able to solo end level boss like that is pretty impressive. And I'm looking at this character right now, and they are a vengeance demon hunter, and they just got some pretty nasty stats on them. So that's pretty cool to see people that just kind of take it to the next level in the game and set these world records like that.
Yeah, it's pretty insane considering, there's probably some pockets of the raiding scene, probably not the ones that, are hardcore, but the fact, some people that's probably still very challenging content for a full raid group. So the fact that one person can do it is pretty insane.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wowhead right here, and at the very end of this article, this is a quote from the player themselves. They say this took 1 hour and 9 minutes in total. So imagine just one boss trying to play them for over an hour. I think that I'd probably, at that point in the match, I'd probably want to give up and just stop for the night. But that just shows how dedicated that person is, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, those people are very, very hardcore, and yeah, I can't ever live up to something like that. So kudos to them.
Okay, so this next one, actually, I had to re-add to our doc, but this past week, Blizzard actually had to ban a very large number of World of Warcraft players that were using third-party bots to help push the game forward for them and make the progression of the game that much easier for them. And I'm reading this on Kotaku right now. It says, last night Blizzard brought the ban hammer down on botters and scripters in World of Warcraft, passing out 6 to 18-month suspensions for players caught using a number of popular third-party programs. And that's quite a big suspension time. I'm looking here. It was saying some people that are repeat offenders for this won't be able to play until 2019. So if they were big into Warcraft, and I'm sure those people that do that probably have multiple accounts, but it's good to see that Blizzard is laying the hammer down on these people that are trying to work their way around the system.
Yeah, I don't know. With something like that, I guess I just don't understand the point of botting. It kind of, if something's doing all the work for you, and you're not experiencing the game on your own, I don't get it. But yeah, whatever. To each his own. I mean, I think they should permaban them, but that's just me.
A little aside, did you guys hear about that company that's getting sued for they sell a subscription and you can get hacks from them, and they were stream sniper people?
Mm-mm. Tell us
No, I
about
didn't
it.
hear about that.
Guess I watch a lot of Twitch, but yeah, there was like a site that you could subscribe to, and they basically had hacks for like every single game, and they were called like anti streamers or something. I read an article. It was just crazy. Yeah, why do people hack like that? It takes all the fun. I don't know. It's weird.
And I don't know a whole
I
lot
mean-
about this, but I mean, did it say that people were doing like did they say what they were achieving in the game, or I'd imagine maybe they're probably doing farming, like for their professions and stuff, I guess, right? I mean, I
Or
don't
as
know.
far as the
Well, with
I don't
these
know about
with
the-
these bots,
yeah, well,
I don't. Yeah, with this thing, I mean, did it go into detail at all? What, or just said these botters got banned? I guess I don't. I guess I just don't understand the point. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, some people they just want that streamlined experience, I guess, so much so that they are willing to risk their account for it. And yeah, I'm reading here again. This is on Kotaku saying the main target of the ban wave seems to have been players who utilized a handful of third-party programs designed to automate game process like questing, leveling, and resource gathering. Out of the three of those things, of course, resource gathering has always been the most tedious. So that's where I could see like people wanting to do it the most. But yeah, I mean, you're missing out on a lot of fun stuff if you're using a program to do all the questing for you. So I've never seen the appeal, but that's just me.
Well, good for those people because now they're not going to get to play the game at all. So yeah, I don't think. I think 18 for I mean, you said 18 months if they're a repeat offender. That almost seems like eventually you think Blizzard would just permaban them. I mean, and they're going to probably start up a new account in the meantime anyway. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's interesting, but good for them, I guess.
So yeah, again, I've never seen the appeal, but to each their own. So that's about it for Warcraft news this week. Hopefully, we'll get some juicier stuff in the coming weeks, either leading up to BlizzCon. Maybe we'll get like some little teasers for expansions, or I guess we'll have to either wait for BlizzCon. Now, the next thing here for Overwatch. So we talked about this one last week, how the Overwatch Halloween Terror is started back up. That's going to go from October 10th through November 1st. And really no new changes for that one since our last episode. Obviously, it started up now. We went over a few of the different cosmetic items that you could receive by getting the loot crates during this event. And there's over 50 new items that you can get from the different loot crates. And again, those are going to be things like different skins, sprays, and probably audio lines as well.
Yeah, there's some pretty sweet skins here. We already talked about, like you mentioned, Zenyatta and Symmetra skins. Those were kind of the big highlights. But there's a totally 80s Zarya skin, which is pretty cool. There's a Viking Torbjorn skin, Van Helsing McCree, and the Corsair skin for Anna is pretty cool. You got that, didn't you, Nick?
Yeah, that's the only character I know how to play in that game, but it's pretty sick.
Yeah, speaking of Symmetra, though, I was looking on Twitter, and there's just, I guess, everyone's kind of falling in love with her new Halloween outfit that kind of has like that, like you talked about last week, kind of like that Diablo, like demon look to it a little bit. So there just been like all the different fan arts kind of popping out of the woodworks for that new Symmetra skin.
You know, I was actually reading, and it looks like the Junkenstein's Revenge event, like you mentioned, is largely the same as it was last year, but there is an Endless Night mode, which is available in the arcade right now. It's where you actually will just, it says endless, so I'm assuming that you just keep going until you lose. That has a different set of characters, though. I think who is it in the regular one? It's Hanzo, Soldier 76.
McCree was one of them.
McCree and Anna, I think, was the original. And then now in this version, it's Genji, Torbjorn, Widowmaker, and Zenyatta. Jeff, you usually are pretty big on these events. Have you played the Endless mode or done any of this new stuff or any of the
Not yet,
Fallen content?
Not yet, but I want to.
Yeah, I just did the regular version with our friend Caleb. We played through that. Got my loot box for the first Halloween loot box. Didn't really get anything in it. I don't think I've gotten any of the new skins. Also, just like the events previously in the year, if you didn't get a skin from the year before, it's down to regular price. So like if you wanted the Junkenstein's Monster Roadhog skin or any of the other skins that released last year, you can get them for the regular price for that tier of rarity till the event ends. So jump on that if you haven't done so.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Kyle was desperately seeking that skin last year, and you were able to get that one, right? The Roadhog one.
Yeah, at the very end, I was getting kind of concerned because the strategy that I used to have with these events, and I just buy loot boxes right off the bat, and then I realized I was like, well, that's kind of not the way to do it. You should try to earn them through the the regular progression during the event, and then at the very end, if it's getting down to the wire, then you buy loot boxes. But right before I was about to buy a set of loot boxes last year, I got Roadhog in the last, right before I was like, all right, if I don't get him in this one, I'm going to buy some loot boxes, and I got him. So yeah, thankfully, that's the one I wanted the most. So I'm good. If I end up with anything this time, great. If not, I got a few of the other ones last year. I got Reinhardt's and Soldier 76s and Mercy's. I like that Zenyatta one. That I don't really ever play Zenyatta, but I'd actually maybe consider trying him out if I got that skin because it's so awesome.
All right, that's about it though for the Halloween Terror event that's going on. This next piece is a little more telling about how popular of a game Overwatch has become. It's got some pretty nasty and obvious copycats kind of coming out of the woodworks now. This game that we're going to talk about, I've been seeing videos and footage of it actually since around the time Overwatch launched. Maybe not around the same exact time, but close enough to where you know that it's something that it was a pretty apparent ripoff. So there's this game that is called, where'd it go? Heroes of Warfare. That is a Chinese, it's a Chinese mobile game. And first of all, I just want to say for a mobile game, it doesn't look that bad. And that's the only nice thing I'm going to say about it. But it's pretty much everything from the core design to the gameplay to any of the mechanics. I'm looking at some of the level designs is a complete and apparent ripoff of Overwatch. And because of this, Blizzard and their Chinese counterpart NetEase are filing a lawsuit against the game's developer, which is called 4399EN Game. And I'm hoping that this plays out and that they will close down this developer.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like there's actually a couple of these. This one was actually, I didn't know about this one. There's a few other ones that were doing the same kind of thing, just blatantly ripping off Overwatch, but it's bad. Like there's a giant, a tall character in armor that puts a big shield out in front of him. It's clearly a Reinhardt ripoff. You do have a Numbani-esque map. There's a map that looks like it was straight up ripped off of Ilios. The layout of the map is completely the same. There looks like there's some kind of Temple of Anubis-esque map. It's just, it's bad. Hopefully that Blizzard will have a little more traction on getting something done with this because they have NetEase working with them. Because I have read about stuff in the past where American game developers and just various IP holders in general have tried to get because these Chinese ripoffs handled and they never have any success. But hopefully them having a Chinese company working with them will hopefully that'll get something done. But yeah, it's just creative bankruptcy. Like you just have to totally just jack someone else's idea. It's pretty, obviously they don't care. It's like there was a Winston-esque character. I don't know if it was in this one or one of the other countless ripoffs, but it was just like a panda in like the same kind of armor that Winston has. And he functioned the exact same way as Winston. So yeah, hopefully they get litigated into the ground.
I think that it was this same game because I said I've seen video and just footage of this for quite a while now. So the fact that it's finally, come to light that they're a ripoff of Overwatch, like I said, I'm hoping something comes of it. Just because, it takes away from the actual credibility of the people that make the actual game, and I don't know. That's my feelings on it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Have you guys looked at any of the gameplay or even looked on the App Store to see if you could find it?
I really don't want to give it the time of day. I'm sure it's there if I looked, but I just watched a gameplay video and it's just, I mean, there's parts where I swear I hear like audio, like exact audio sound files from Overwatch are in it. Like I think the sound of when they captured a point, if it's not the same, they edited it and made it sound a little bit different. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Like I don't know. I don't get it, and it's a problem. Like I know that in China there's like a theme park that uses a bunch of Blizzard assets, and I think it's like World of Warcraft themed. And I don't think Blizzard was able to get anything done with that, so hopefully they have a little bit better success with this.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That one. It's has all the like the licensed looking stuff, but it's like just different enough to where they're able to claim that it's not not the same thing.
Yeah, China has some pretty kind of fishy laws about copyright, so yeah, hopefully NetEase will give Blizzard some credibility in that fight because they're a Chinese company. So, did you check this out at all, Jeff? Did you see this these ripoffs? I think you and I were watching some video of it before.
Yeah, and I saw it I saw it while I was at work, and yeah, it's pretty blatant. Hopefully, with the Chinese publisher of Overwatch getting involved, something will actually happen. All I could say. I mean, it's horrible, but it's what China is known for to me, and it's kind of why it's annoying that it's China's MO. It's just to knock stuff off and just allow it. And it's like, yet we won't allow that for if they had some kind of gripe here, we'd take action against it, but over there they don't do anything. So.
Guess we'll
All
have
right,
to wait and see what happens.
so let's not give this thing any more spot any more time in the spotlight. We're gonna move on from this fake Overwatch game. So next thing we got here, this is pretty awesome for those of you that are looking for a potential job at Blizzard and working with the Overwatch team. Shows that Blizzard has a new job posting that hints at a possible new Overwatch project. And I'm taking this from PC Gamer. It says a recently posted job listing at Blizzard suggests that a new Overwatch project might be in the works. The studio is seeking a generalist artist intern to work on an unannounced project, and one of the recommended talents is a familiarity with Overwatch. So that's pretty telling right there. I think that hopefully we'll get some sort of announcement either before or BlizzCon about a new Overwatch IP. What do you guys think about that?
It would be as cool as it would be. I don't personally think it'll happen, and the reason I say that is because I was looking a little bit more at the job posting, and this is for the incubation team at Blizzard, and that's actually the team that Alan Adham is in charge of when he rejoined the company as a vice president after being absent for about over a decade. He was one of the original founders. But this generalist artist intern, they're looking for the internship for summer 2018. Now, not to say that maybe there won't be something before that. There could be. My guess would be this is something that's probably a little more farther in the future, especially if it's in the incubation team, because their whole point of that team is to come up with new ideas, and they said that they have a lot of ideas going on the incubation team, and a lot of them probably won't even see the light of day. They're just kind of testing out ideas, kind of throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. That being said, though, I'd imagine that they probably are going to try their hardest to get another Overwatch game out. I mean, it makes sense. The Overwatch we're playing today has sold over 30 million copies. It's one of the most popular games at the moment, and Blizzard, I don't think they're not in the business of making one-off games. I'm sure they want Overwatch to be a franchise, and I'm sure it will be, but whether we get it now or a few years down the road remains to be seen. I'd assume they're going to just continue to work on adding more content to Overwatch, but it definitely seems like something else is coming, but who knows?
And something you said too reminded me of something that Mike Morheim said I want to say it's a few months ago when there was one of their conferences they had. It was one of their quarterly earnings. People were asking about future projects, and he did mention the incubation team and how they have several different things working, like in progress right now. But many of them probably will never see the light of day. So I'm guessing that this job is probably going to fill one of those requirements needed for those.
Yeah, I mean, and what would be cool though, and I think we talked about this when the Volskaya Foundry map went live for Heroes. You know, you gotta get a different perspective on that universe. You know, 'cause with the isometric, well, I thought, yeah, the kind of the top down ish kind of view with the MOBA. It would be cool to see Blizzard branch out and do another type of game in the Overwatch universe. And I don't know, like a strategy game or something would be cool. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure whatever we get for Overwatch, that's, you know, the next game, it won't be a shooter, but it'd be cool to see them do something else in another genre.
Yeah, I'd definitely be willing to try it out, especially if it was more like a adventure type game with a cohesive story to it.
I know all you play is shooters, Nick, but if Overwatch were to branch out into another genre or type of game, is there anything particular that would get you to play another? I mean, I know you're not very you're not very positive on Overwatch as it is, but would you play in what would you like to see Overwatch branch out into?
I don't know. I don't think it needs to branch out into anything. I mean, I guess if they could do some sort of mobile PvE game. I mean, I wouldn't play it, but that might be fun. I'd like to see them. I think I've said this before, but dial back like a competitive mode to like 3 players, or maybe like just a smaller group and do competitive that way. Because I feel like that would be more popular. But I don't know. They're pushing that sports league pretty hard.
Well, that'd be kind of cool though. Like you said, like a 3v3, just kind of take a page out of WoW's book with like how they do in the arenas and battlegrounds and stuff, and give you the option to queue for different types of competitive.
Yeah, I think that game like reminds me a lot of WoW. I mean, you obviously don't have the number of abilities and stuff to remember and things, but I think it plays like less about shooting skill and more about positioning and using abilities effectively. And I think it would lend itself well to 3s, in my opinion, rather than 5s.
What about
All
you?
right, that's about it for. Oh,
I was
go
going
there,
to ask you, what, Jeff, do you have any would you like to see, what would you see, you played a bunch of different games just like I do, if Overwatch were to branch out into, and let's say fast forward 2 years, you know, maybe even 3, Blizzard announces a new a new Overwatch game at BlizzCon or wherever, what would you want that game to be?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's when you think of Overwatch and you think of the format of the game it already is, it would be weird to kind of see it as anything else. But maybe some kind of like basically maybe like some kind of like shooter, but it's like for like a single player game, and it has more of just like a campaign as opposed to it being a online competitive game, just like a single player campaign driven game. It's like where we can actually have a narrative and things like that. That'd be kind of cool to me.
Yeah, I that's yeah kind of what I'm thinking. Also, I would like to see a little more emphasis on narrative. Oh, but we'll probably find out in a couple of years if at all.
What I'd like to see personally is like some one-off games based off particular characters. I think because it would be like a particular character. I wouldn't expect it to be a full length game, but it'd be interesting to see them make maybe like a little mini game, just that's maybe just a few hours long, that focuses on one character. And the first thing that came to mind right away is I was thinking of that PS2 game, Shinobi. I think you had that one, didn't you, Kyle?
Oh yeah, that game was awesome back in the day.
Yeah, and right away I'm just okay. I can picture throw Genji in that in place of the Shinobi and just kind of tweak up the graphics a little bit. And that could be a pretty fun action adventure kind of game.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like I said, this is with the incubation team. I mean, I think it's pretty much assumed that we're going to see some more Overwatch in the future, but whether this particular project ever comes out, who knows? Who knows even where it's at in terms of production? It seems like it's pretty early, but we'll find
All
out.
right, that's it for Overwatch though. Not a whole lot going on. So we're gonna jump into some StarCraft, and there's a preview for patch 3.19, and I'm gonna have Kyle. I'm guessing you probably have looked at this a little more than I have.
Yeah, it's nothing major. It's just UI improvements mainly for arcade and custom games. The Blizzard's wanting to make it easier for, user-generated content to be found. They're wanting to help, just give more exposure to content that might be neat that got buried. They're wanting to find ways of curtailing the current arcade and custom game system to like abuse it and try to bury other games and give your game types and give exposure to your own. They're going to work on that. So they're just combining arcade and custom games into one kind of UI section. They're going to show open. You're going to be able to see open lobbies for custom games, and people will be able to name them, so it's a little easier to figure out what you're wanting to play. Just some UI changes for widescreen monitors. Nothing major. Like it's hardly anything really gameplay related, and I mean, I think this is kind of, this is where StarCraft is at its, at this point in its life cycle. We're going to see some, quality of life stuff for the game client. Blizzard will continue to balance the game for competitive play for, esports, and then that'll be it until hopefully StarCraft 3 someday. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments people are leaving here regarding these patch updates. And there's this one of these guys that says, these are great changes, but why did it take 7 years to implement? So are these changes for StarCraft 2 or are these for just the StarCraft remaster?
It's StarCraft 2.
Okay. Yeah, so just a couple comments I'm seeing here. Just Blizzard taking a little bit longer than they need to be getting some of these changes made.
Well, the UI's changed a lot. Like even like from Wings of Liberty to Legacy of the Void, it's quite a bit different. And so I think that for people to say, to make a comment that, Blizzard's kind of been, resting on its laurels with that, I don't think that's accurate. The games have changed a lot, even since when Legacy of the Void just came out. So yeah, that's kind of a nonsense comment, but what do you expect? It's the internet.
That is too true. All right. Now, unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing for Diablo this week. We talked about last week how Season 11 would be ending and Season 12 will be starting here in the near future. But that's about it, though. So let's move on to Heroes of the Storm. For this one, we got quite a few awesome things coming up. First thing, as we talked about the past few weeks, Junkrat was announced with Ana in the last big update that also included the Volskaya Foundries. But Heroes of the Storm for Blizzard, they also put out the Hero Spotlight for Junkrat. And I have to say, he looks like a pretty fun character to play. He has a lot of the same, I say a lot, he has all of the same abilities that he has in Overwatch. And a few of them, I'm surprised they aren't as powerful as their counterpart are. For example, I was watching when he was using his Riptire, and it square hits like 3 people and maybe takes them down, not even half damage. So I don't know. I've heard some mixed reviews on how he plays in the PTR right now. I've heard that he's overpowered. I've heard that he's not powered up enough. So it's just something I got to try out for myself.
Yeah, he's we'll get into it a little bit when we talk about one of the next bits, but I hear he's pretty broken, and we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the Destructoid article, which I think for the Heroes Global Championship. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Have you guys had a chance to try him on the PTR at all?
No, I wanted to. He looks really cool. The fact that we talked about this with Anna, the Blizzard's doing a really good job of translating their kits to Heroes. And so he's got, his Riptire for one of his heroic abilities. He's got a lot of the same stuff, and I was actually playing regular live Heroes when I was playing, so I didn't have a chance to jump in and actually check him out.
All right. Well, so he's going to be added with patch 2.0, And there's a few other things that were added on to that patch as well. I'm just going to give you some of the highlights here. So the new special event, Hallow's End. Here's the key details about that one. In order to participate, you play 25 games during Hallow's End in any mode except custom games, training, or hero brawl to earn spooky new items. Here are some of the treats you can unwrap and there's a 3-part quest chain. So part 1 is play 2 games during Hallow's End, and your reward is the cartoon headless horseman spray. Part 2, you play 8 games during Hallow's End, and your reward is Hallow's End with the Warcrest banner. And part 3, you play 15 games during Hallow's End, gets you the headless horseman's portrait. So very similar to that Call of Kel'Thuzad event that we had, I believe it was last month. So they're kind of keeping with that theme of just trying to get people to play. It feels like they're just trying to get you to play more and more games and get people more active in the Heroes community.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. Just like in the Pachimari Mania events going on right now, it's like doesn't drastically change the game. It's not like a special mode or anything, but yeah, just getting people to get in there and just play the game, whether it even be just versus AI. It got me. I wasn't playing a whole lot really when Pachimari Mania happened, and then I was like, oh, I need to get that finished up. So I jumped in. I ended up playing quite a few matches, so it's working at least for me.
Yeah, that's really the big update for this patch. There across the board, there are some different changes being made to quite a few of the heroes. So many, in fact. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but if you want to check out all of the changes, you can just check out the Heroes of the Storm page on battle.net.
Yeah, I was kind of looking through it. Nazebo got quite a few changes. I don't really play him ever. But he had quite a big list of changes. Same with Muradin. Those two seem to be the two biggest in terms of changes. Also, with that, there are a couple, like you said, a few other little things that we should probably touch on. If you're somehow still using Windows XP or Vista, with this patch, Heroes will no longer be playable on those platforms. So Blizzard says players who are affected by this change are encouraged to upgrade to a newer OS version. So if you want to play Heroes, you got to upgrade to at least Windows 7, I guess. You might as well just get 10. It's fine. And then also with the we forgot to mention with the Hallow's End event, actually a really good change here that wasn't in effect with previous holiday events for Heroes, is you'll actually be guaranteed at least one item from the event in the Hallow's End loot chests. So
they're taking a page out of the Overwatch holiday loot boxes then.
Right, because in the past I noticed that when I got one of the what was the name of the event? The summer event?
Summer Games?
No, for Heroes.
Oh, Suns Out, Guns Out?
Yeah, there you go. With Suns Out, Guns Out, I got a chest, and there was nothing in it from the event. I was like, and I expected it to work like Overwatch, and it didn't. So that's a good change. And then, of course, once the event starts, any normal chests that you would be awarded will now be Hallow's End loot chest, except for hero specific. So, yeah.
And that's for me, that's a good thing about having these different IPs kind of follow the same route as when it comes to rewarding the loot chest, because you see how for Overwatch that was pretty successful, where people were just getting those themed items for every holiday event. So it was good that Heroes was able to replicate that. They had that model there to follow.
Yeah, we talked about last week. There's some pretty cool little things with cosmetic items with this event. The mounts are what actually are most interesting to me. But yeah, so people should go check it out.
Oh, this is worth noting too. I'm reading here on the patch notes. It's saying, please note that any loot crates you already own prior to the start of the event will not convert to Hallow's End chests. So if you're just hoarding them, hoping to get these different skins and mounts, don't waste your time.
Indeed.
All right. Yes. So for Heroes of the Storm, we kind of already hit most of the big things. We got a couple other things here. This one comes from Destructoid, and this touches back on Junkrat, which we mentioned earlier. And it turns out that for the HGC finals, that Blizzard has decided that they're going to disable Junkrat from the final matches for the championship. And again, this is going to be something. I'm going to read this directly from Destructoid. And it says, Junkrat was just released on the PTR for Heroes of the Storm for testing, and players have thoughts on him. I've refrained from even giving out impressions at the moment because I need to get more of a handle on how he works. I'm going to skip down a little bit. HGC will be using the Junkrat patch, though, just with the title character unavailable to play. The very same patch that has major tweaks for Zul'jin, Nazebo, and Muradin. It should be an interesting final set. Let's see, one more thing here. Okay, so it says that uncertainty is good enough for Blizzard, it seems, as they've announced that they're disabling Junkrat for the HGC finals, which will take place at BlizzCon next month. A lot of the frustration is centered around his mines, which have the same pushback concept as Overwatch, but to an exaggerated degree that allows Junkrat to fling people over walls or get himself to safety. That and his absurd ultimate that was created for Heroes that lets him ride in an invulnerable rocket, blow up, and immediately respawn with a super fast rocket mount. So yeah, I can see why they would disable him for the finals. I mean, there's really not a lot of time for people to, I mean, yes, if you're a really dedicated player and you're playing like nonstop, you should be able to kind of get the mechanics of him. But I don't think that enough people would be able to figure out how to play against that type in such a short amount of time.
That, and I think just whatever changes they're making to Junkrat, I think they're going to end up being pretty significant. That second heroic ability is pretty ridiculous in terms of its power. I can't think of it. Can you think of I can't think of any other heroic ability in the game, and maybe I'm just blanking, but like the fact that he's invulnerable when you use it, you know, there's no way to counter it. So that's pretty powerful. And then the fact that he can, you know, the ability hits and then he just runs, you know, he rushes back into the battle so quickly with the rocket. Yeah, I think Junkrat's going to get tweaked a lot. I mean, he seems way too powerful at the moment. Yeah, those mines, I've been watching videos about, you know, to show him, and yeah, he can displace, you know, enemies pretty easily and teammates as well. So it's just he's insane. So it doesn't surprise me that he won't be playable for the Heroes Global Championship.
Yeah, I have a feeling that just like with any other tweaks they make, he's going to be totally underpowered for a while, though. I mean, that's obviously, I don't think Kel'Thuzad had that issue. I still feel like he's pretty overpowered anytime we get in a match with him. But I just have a feeling that there's enough pushback on how Junkrat plays, it's going to be where he's almost unplayable.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and that's, again, you know, everyone's gonna get up on their podium and talk about how it should be done, but it's not easy to balance characters in a game like this, and it's probably gonna take a little bit of time for him to get dialed into the right place. But it is, I agree with Blizzard's decision to just disable him, because he could really have a big effect on the BlizzCon finals. So
I don't know. I think we need to replace the entire balance team.
Oh yeah. God,
I'm just kidding. Of
no,
course.
I know you are.
No. For those that were listening to the last episode.
Yeah, the people. Yeah, that I'm sure that guy is on the Heroes forums shouting the same thing. I wouldn't doubt it. He had to find a new place to go after being banned for 30 days on the Overwatch forums. So he's probably lurking around on the Heroes forums. But yeah. So.
All right, so that's about it for that one. One last little tidbit here is Kyle mentioned this one earlier, but the Pachimari Mania event is going to be ending here on the 17th, so that's in 2 days. So if you haven't had a chance to get all your little Pachimaris and your banners and your sprays and stuff, you have 2 more days to do that, and super easy. Just at the start of every match, you just got to click open those loot boxes and get those golden ones for your chance to, you know, get your final ones. I'm working on my last one still. I think I just have like 2 more that I have to get, in order to get those Pachymari emojis.
Yeah, I'm all done. Jeff, are you already done with it?
I only need like 2 more.
Well, maybe we'll have to jump on later and go get those. But yeah, it was I don't know, it's cool. Just little extra things. I mean, the banner's cool. I was using the Overwatch banner on one of my heroes for the Pachymari. So it's just again cool. Just little things to entice people to play. I think it's smart. Seems to be working.
Only thing I wish they would keep is the speed boost that you got if you got a bunch of the Pachimaris.
Oh yeah, because that would be nice and balanced.
Yeah, well, no one said it had to be balanced, Kyle.
No, that's true. So yeah, 2 more days to get that done if you procrastinated. So get on it.
And that's what I do. Nick, do you remember what Miss Cooper used to tell us during English?
That's the 3 Ps where we came up with it, right? The rule.
Exactly.
May they live on forever.
I don't know.
Procrastinate, procrastinate, procrastinate.
That's what you do.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's move on from some Heroes of the Storm. We'll move on to some Hearthstone now. Again, it's been a pretty light few weeks for Hearthstone, but thankfully we got a little ray of sunshine here in an otherwise bleak and cloudy day. There's finally going to be a new Warlock hero that will be available to play for Hearthstone, which is really cool because Warlock has always been my go-to class for any iteration of Warcraft, whether it's World of Warcraft or Hearthstone. So I'm really glad to see that they're finally doing this. I think almost every other class in Hearthstone has gotten at least one new champion to play as, and some actually even have, I want to say, 2 champions. I want to say it's Mage has 3 champions total now that you can play as. So it's about time that Warlock's getting a little love. Only thing I'm bummed about is it's not really any character of significant importance. What it actually is, for those that play Hearthstone, there is a character or a card you can play called the Bog Lurker, I believe is who it is. And it's a relatively good card. It's got taunt, pretty high health, and it shows a gnome that's sitting on top of it in the card picture, and it turns out that the gnome that's sitting on the lurker is going to be the character you get to play as. But she looks pretty awesome, though. I mean, besides the fact that she's a gnome, she's got on. Oh, you're going to have to help me remember the name of this one. She has on the tier gear that has the little spikes on the shoulders that have the skeleton heads coming off it. Do you guys remember which one that is?
Is it tier? Hold on. Let me find it.
I want to say it's
tier 8.
Yeah, I think it was one of the tiers that you got from doing Sunwell, I feel like.
Oh, no, it's tier 4, right? I don't even remember the tiers. It's been so long. Or no, tier 5. It's tier 5.
It was around the same time because I remember there was this one and there was the one that looked like the Voidwalker set.
Yeah, Nick's correct. It's tier 5, the Corruptor set.
Okay, yeah. So she's wearing that armor minus the helm, and that one and the Void set were always like 2 of my favorites. So I'm glad to see they picked a good one for her. And the only bummer, to get this hero, is it's not one that you're going to be able to buy or just earn in the game. You actually have to attend a fireside gathering in order to get this particular hero. Now, while I've been wanting to do that myself anyway, the likelihood of everyone that wants to get to this hero being able to do that is probably not the best. I mean, sometimes in fireside gatherings, I was looking how you are able to set one up. Because I guess anybody can set up a fireside gathering. They just have to have, I think it said like 4 or 5 unique people attached to your gathering in order to make it count as one, and then that's what qualifies you to count as a fireside gathering. But I don't have that many people down here that actually play it. So the nearest one, I was telling Nick earlier, is tomorrow night at Balboa Park at 11 o'clock at night. So I'm not sure if I want to drive down to Balboa at 11 o'clock to get this hero, but I would definitely think about it.
Yeah, I was reading an article on Kotaku about this same thing, and it's a neat idea, getting people to go out and actually interact with community members. Totally for that. That's a neat idea, especially with, Hearthstone being a little more. It's definitely the gameplay kind of lends itself to that more than the other properties. But if you're not going to have it easily accessible for people, then that's a problem. I forgot where the person from Kotaku who wrote the article was located. I think they were either in New York or New Jersey, and they were going to have to go an hour to the nearest event. So, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, like I said, the nearest one to me is probably about, without traffic, about 30 minutes. With traffic, take anywhere like hour and a half. But I'm looking here. It tells you the rules for making a fireside gathering. It says right here. It says, be sure to establish your tavern so that Nimsy can join in the fun. A tavern becomes established after you've hosted a fireside gathering that had at least 3 unique patrons in attendance. After you meet this requirement, your next visit to firesidegatherings.com will prompt you to establish a tavern that you and your community can call home. So that's a really cool premise, being able to just create this community within a community, kind of like Inception, a dream within a dream. But I don't know, it seems like a little bit of work for, especially if you don't have enough people nearby that are able to commit to making that kind of a drive or that kind of a commitment.
Yeah, and then I was reading, like, even if you establish a tavern right now or something with the process of getting one set up, you wouldn't even be eligible to get this character. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But hopefully Blizzard can figure out a way to make that more, maybe consider, I don't know, alternate ways. Maybe if not everyone's going to be able to do this. They should have another way. Maybe make it free for people to do the fireside gathering and allow people to buy it. I mean, I know that's not some people would probably be against that idea, but I'd at least like the opportunity to buy it if I can't go to a fireside gathering.
And for those of you that are able to make it to fireside gatherings but are not able to make it during like this holiday season for Halloween, it looks like you'll be able to get the special hero starting October 17th. But even after the event ends, you will be able to continue to get her at fireside gatherings as long as you show up and I guess log in or however you do that. But yeah, that's about it though for that part of Hearthstone. We got a few other little things here. This one I thought was just a little cool little helpful thing that Blizzard put out for those of you that are playing the game and still have not had a chance to complete the Knights of the Frozen Throne like scenarios, such as like the Lower Citadel. Blizzard has put out a guide, like a walkthrough to help you beat the different bosses that are in those areas. So it's only the first area right now. It's called the Lower Citadel, and that includes the bosses Lord Marugar. Who else we have here? Deathbringer Sourfang, and I believe the last one is Lady Death Whisper. And basically, it just kind of gives you a rundown of the fight, tells you what to expect from them, but it also gives you decks, like pre-generated decks that you can put together that are good to use against this particular boss. Now, this has been out for roughly like a month or two now, this expansion. So some people might think that, too little, too late to be giving this out. But Hearthstone is one of those games. I think actually any Blizzard game for that matter is just one of those games where you get new players all the time. So yeah, a lot of people probably already played this content, but this will be really good for people that have not had a chance to really break into the new content yet.
Did you beat the Lich King, Jeff?
No, not not yet. Still trying to beat it with at least one of the characters, but I'll get back to it at some point. Just been focusing on Heroes and other games right now.
Yeah, I was able to beat the Lich King once, but I am still 8 away from being able to unlock that Prince Arthas hero for getting all 9 classes.
Yeah, I haven't even done it on one. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I don't know. I'll get it back to it at some point. Every time I try to think about booting Hearthstone up, I get sidetracked with something else. I have a feeling once we see what's coming at BlizzCon for the game, I'm sure that'll probably be what stokes me to get back into it.
Yeah, that's usually the way. I think that's the way most people are. Is we kind of we play the game so much that we kind of get burnt out of it, and then we kind of get that fire reignited once we see the new content. I've always been that way with pretty much any game that I play. Like WoW, same thing. Anytime a new expansion comes out, kind of get that drive to want to jump back and play again. All right, so the last thing here, this one, it's a pretty, not want to say long, but it's a pretty lengthy article. Actually, an interview that Ben Brode, the game director for Hearthstone, had with, it's called Venture Beat, but the actual part of the magazine, I believe, is called Games Beat. And the interview was just about Ben Brode discussing what he thinks casual Hearthstone actually is. And for I don't know, for me, I don't play casual that much, but he goes into the idea of how there's like people have this misconception when they go into casual Hearthstone that it's not going to have like any pre-made decks, or you're not going to have really competitive people. It's just people going in to try things for fun. And that, I think that's the biggest misconception that people have when they jump into a casual game. And I know I have a tendency to do that too sometimes. Like if I'm kind of getting burnt out on ranked matches, I'll jump into casual and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to have to deal with any like BS decks in here. And then I kind of get hit with the same thing. He just kind of goes on to tell, like when they're talking about casual, they're not talking so much about how the game is supposed to be laid back and easy. It's just supposed to be a little bit of a different experience for those that are playing. Just like it's not as high stress. You don't have so much to worry about. Like you're not losing your rank. You're not going to be having to like stress about making a giant deck that can take down anybody. And it's a pretty interesting article / interview. I've always liked Ben Brode. Just any of the videos I watch of them, I think he's a really cool guy. So I like that he's taken the time to sit down and just kind of explain his opinions and thoughts on this game.
Yeah, like I said, I want to get back into Hearthstone. I don't know what it's going to take for me. I kind of agree with Nick though, because like I'll admit, like, and this is true of my entire time playing card games, like I've never been that good at like coming up with like my own decks. Like I know I could easily go on Hearthstone or something and get a make some kind of deck, but I would like if Blizzard would just like be like, hey, here's some, I know they have kind of like basic decks for the classes, but I would like if they're just like, hey, there's this deck and this is what it's designed to do, and then I don't know, I think that would help me ease into it better. I don't know, I sound like a pansy because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are just fine with doing it, but I don't know, for me, like that was like whenever we'd play Yu-Gi-Oh or Dragon Ball Z or Magic or whatever, I always just I'd pretty much just find a pre-built deck that I liked, and I'd stick with that and then tweak it. So I think that would be helpful for me. I hope Blizzard does something like that, like a bigger breadth of pre-constructed decks. I think that would help me get back in. But but no, you're right about Ben Brode. It's seems like a cool guy. Definitely, he's come a long way. I mean, I wasn't really familiar with what he did at Blizzard before Hearthstone. I always remember him as being the voice of BlizzCon. Like you'd always hear like whenever they'd be making announcements. He was the guy. So it's just cool to see how far he's come since then. And of course, I'm sure I'm downplaying his contributions pre-Hearthstone, but yeah, it's cool to see how far he's come. People seem to be pretty keen on the guy.
And just a shout out really fast to Ben Brode. This is something we watched listened to a few episodes ago. Actually, think more than a few. But Ben Brode rapping the story of Arthas on YouTube. If you have not watched that yet, I highly recommend it.
It's good stuff. He's got some flow, that's for sure.
All right, so that's about it for Hearthstone, though. So we're going to jump in. We got a few BlizzCon related items here. Kyle, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah. So let's the early access gear sale is going on right now on gear.blizzard.com. So if you have a virtual ticket or you redeemed your digital bonus code for an actual BlizzCon ticket, you have access right now to buy. There's a ton of merchandise up on the store that you can buy right now, and I believe after the 17th, this is actually going to be open up to everybody. So usually this stuff would roll out later to just the general public, but Blizzard said that they wanted people to have quicker access to the BlizzCon merch, because they know, people might not be able to go or get a virtual ticket. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on there right now. I know people are obsessed with the pins. There's, the Series 4 of the pins is up. There's all kinds of different, character pins that you can just buy. There's all kinds of apparel. There's some really cool shirts up. There's all the stuff for the key art. Now, I did hear there is some scuttlebutt going on right now on the forums about the quality of the key art merchandise. Apparently, it's a little rough. I saw a picture of someone got the BlizzCon mug, and I got the one for last year, and it was really nice. But apparently, the artwork's really pixelated on the new one, and it's just, people are not happy with that. They say the quality of the shirt's not good in terms of the the artwork. Yeah, it's so there's that, but just tons of stuff. So if you've fall into that category, either virtual ticket holder or you're going to BlizzCon, you can go to the Gear Store right now. I got a couple. And they're running a couple of promotions as well. And they have their usual promotion where if you purchase $100 or more worth of merchandise, you get free shipping. If you spend $150 or more, you get a gold merchy pin. So it's like a little Murloc pushing a shopping cart with a little BlizzCon logo in it. You can get that if you are, And I was actually looking at my wish list, and one of the things I wanted to get is out of stock. This is what I put in my shopping cart, and I'm gonna probably have to get on buying this stuff soon. There's a really cool Overwatch anniversary pin that's out of stock. Hopefully it comes back. I put the Cute but Deadly Roadhog pin in there, a Heroes Global Championship Final shirt, a Probius. I always like to get a poster for BlizzCon, so I put the Probius poster in my cart. And then there's just some cool, there's a nice StarCraft button up, all kinds of stuff on there. So if you're wanting to drain your wallet, just go to the Blizzard Gear Store. Probably won't take you long.
I think BlizzCon itself already drained my wallet, so I'm good.
No, it drained my wallet and then some, but yeah, this just adds to it. But there's also you want to talk about the map, or you want me to talk about it? Oh, shoot.
I'll jump into this one.
Oh, before we move on, I totally forgot. My apologies. With the key art, I think we talked about this in the past when they revealed the quote-unquote final key art. It wasn't the final key art back when we talked about it. If you look at any item with the key art in the Gear Store right now, whether it be the poster, the pins, anything, there's a new character on it. And it's Mira Han from StarCraft 2. For those not familiar with Mira Han, she is a Terran mercenary. She's dealt with Raynor and Horner in the past. Matthew Horner, the captain of the Hyperion. So she's on the key art now. So I have a prediction tied to this, but I will hold on to it until, I think I've already talked about it a little bit with you guys off the air. We'll discuss that next week in our BlizzCon predictions podcast. But yeah, so when I mentioned that there was no StarCraft character on there, I was right. Not that it's
I'm looking at it right now. Is she the one? I can't tell the picture very well. Is she the one on the very top with her hand out?
Yeah, she's got pink hair. She's got some goggles up on her forehead. So yeah, she was not on there originally because we were making the comment that Probius was on there. But Probius, even though he's a Protoss probe, that's a Heroes character. That's not a StarCraft character. So this means something. I think most people kind of have an idea what it means, but that's my prediction. I'll hold on to that till next week. Just want to point that out. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the map, Greg.
Yeah, so Blizzard has released the actual floor plan for how BlizzCon is going to be set up this year. And if you guys remember from previous episodes, we talked about how they had some extensions on the convention center this year. So it's pretty much, I don't want to say it's like double the size of the convention, but it's significantly changed and altered where everything is going to be. So, for example, this one I'm pretty stoked about. Hearthstone has its own like private area for just like for display this year. So it's going to be North Hall level 1, and at that area there's going to be the Hearthstone demos, the Hearthstone Tavern, and the Hearthstone tournament stage. So I like that they're keeping it kind of not segregated, that's the wrong word, but yeah, separated, and where people that are Hearthstone fans are going to be able to kind of congregate together and talk about cards and stuff.
Yeah, and this is actually in the expanded hall. So this is the brand new building or hall, I should say, at the convention center. This is where the Hilton parking structure used to be. That got demolished, and now the North Hall is there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Like you said, the tournament stage, the demo area, and the tavern are all there. Did you go? Oh wait, you haven't gone to BlizzCon for a few years. Do you know anything about the Hearthstone Tavern? I didn't check it out last year. Is it?
Not exactly sure. I like you said, I haven't been in a few years, so I'm not sure what all that entails. I'm sure it's probably not an actual tavern.
Well, it could.
Jake and I checked it out last year. Yeah, it was. They did have beer in there, and it was
all
cool.
right.
It was like
we're going.
a little
nice.
Toony version of that cinematic.
Oh dang! Okay, we're gonna have to check that out. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. And also, it gives you a pretty in-depth look of where everything is going to be at the convention. So even down to, for those of you that like to get like the big photo opportunities with the different statues and stuff they have on display, it even tells you where the different statues are going to be. So for example, there's going to be a Gromish Hellscream statue in the Hearthstone tournament area. There'll be a Tracer one just right outside Overwatch, which is very fitting.
Now, I was actually checking. It says there's a Sylvanas. Was there a Sylvanas statue in the past at BlizzCon? Because it says there's a Sylvanas statue. I don't remember.
Not that I remember.
Am I blanking?
Yeah, I'm trying. The ones I always remember, there's always the Tyrael statue, the Illidan statue, I don't know if it's a specific orc, but I remember there's always the orc with the dire wolf. Those are always the ones I remember.
Tracer and Winston have been, yeah, like you said, Tracer's there. Winston was there? I think there was a Winston statue before. There's a Junkrat statue, which is pretty cool this year. But the biggest thing on the list, Jeff, can you give me a little bugle salute really quick?
Like what?
Give me with the bugle. You know, the
like
little
reverie or
yeah,
what?
Hit
or
me
taps?
with Amazing Grace on the bugle.
Like that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. StarCraft is no longer in the arena. Overwatch has taken over. So I've already seen some pretty upset reactions to that, but let's come on, people. The reality of it is right now, whether people want to admit it or not,
There's a new king.
Overwatch is the big game for Blizzard right now. Like, especially for the competitive scene, and it makes sense to have Overwatch be in there, because we walked by the Overwatch World Cup area last time, and it's where the StarCraft 2 stage is now. I could never get in. It was capped constantly. So, based off of how the layout has been for the StarCraft arena, it totally makes sense. A lot more people are going to be able to get in there and watch matches. So, yeah, that's good. Good choice for some guy in the forums was trying to debate that StarCraft still brings in more viewers. That's all you have to do is watch Twitch to know that's not true. So, good choice there. And then other than that, it's kind of a typical layout aside from the expansion. There is, of course, the Mythic stage. That's where all the big, massive panels are. The WoW What's Next panel will be right after the opening ceremony there. Blizzard did say that they are going to put out. They did mention, previously we talked about this. The opening ceremony is going to be broadcast across all the stages, and there will actually be live content on multiple stages. They said they're going to announce how that's going to work. That's not included in this map, but we'll touch on that when that info comes out.
And I'm looking at the different stages right now. Maybe I'm just to trick the eyes. I'm just eyeballing it, but it looks like Heroes of the Storm is probably the next biggest of the 4 stages for the main championships. So I wonder. Yeah, it looks like they're kind of prioritizing by popularity at the moment.
Oh yeah, I mean, we went last year. We watched some. I think that was actually one of the last things we did last year at BlizzCon. Was we actually watched some of the Heroes tournaments, and a lot of people watch that. So that's there in Hall B. That's a lot of people show up to that. So that's kind of surprises me that at least like you mentioned from the look of the map, it's a little bit bigger than the StarCraft area. That's surprising to me, but obviously Blizzard has a better handle on that than we do about which deserves the bigger area.
And then probably the saddest note that I'm seeing here, it's got its own little square right in the middle of the convention center. But that's about it.
Oh, Jesus.
We got the Diablo 3.
Yeah, I mean, we already pretty much know what that's going to be. I'm sure it'll be very similar to what there was last year. And actually, last year's Diablo area wasn't that big either. It was just some PCs, and I believe I know they had PS4s. Maybe there were some Xbox Ones. But they just had the latest build of Diablo 3. That's how I was able to play the Necromancer. Yeah, I mean, if people are they're still conspiracy, despite it there being an announcement, people are still holding out hope that there's going to be some big Diablo announcement.
You never know, Kyle. You never know.
I don't know. An announcement maybe, but there won't be anything playable. But that's not usually Blizzard's MO. So usually they'll announce something and it's playable, like Overwatch was in 2014. So yeah, that's that. And I didn't see it. I was expecting maybe after Comic-Con that they would have had this, but maybe it'll be outside. I don't see the Ice Cream Citadel, and I know it's November that this thing's taking place, but that isn't, Southern California. It's still going to be decent weather. I was expecting to see the Ice Cream Citadel. Maybe it'll be outside.
That'll probably be set up outside somewhere, kind of by like where those food trucks usually are while we're waiting in line.
If it's there. And maybe it won't be there. But yeah, I was expecting to see that. So apparently, people got a kick out of that. So I was kind of hoping to see.
Really quick too, I'm just looking at this. I'm stuck on this Diablo thing. I'm looking at the size of like the demo area, and I'm just eyeballing it. But it looks like it is, if my measuring is correct, 1/9 the size of the Warcraft demo area.
Yeah, and I was actually just looking at it too. You could actually fit the Diablo 3 demo area in one of the bathrooms. So that, yeah. Sad note for Diablo fans, but we talked about Blizzard's announcement that there will be no announcements, so this shouldn't really surprise anyone. But what else do we got for got a few more BlizzCon items, don't we?
Yeah, we got a couple other BlizzCon things here. Just like previous weeks, they've been releasing a steady stream of videos getting people prepared for BlizzCon. And the videos range in subject matter. A couple of ones, there's developer Q&A, Tales from Blizzard. And just like the previous weeks, some of these are going to be free videos, while other of these are going to be videos that you have to have either the actual BlizzCon ticket or virtual ticket in order to watch. So the one I just mentioned, Tales from Blizzard, is a free one. This one says, I'm going to mispronounce this name, KO Milker, Ian Hazakostas, Rachel Day, and other developers discuss their first beloved Blizzard game.
What'd you say, Nick?
Their favorite swag and how they got here.
I said sounds hot on the KO Milk.
Oh, yeah, I think he's one of the head developers on Heroes, if I remember correctly.
There's another one, 2017 year in review for Diablo 3. It's probably about a 30-second long video.
I think it's a little longer than that, but yeah,
it's right. It's just an introduction. Yeah. So it's Travis Day and Joe Shelley get everyone caught up on the last year in Diablo. Another one, BlizzCon 2016 cosplay. So if you want to kind of get an idea of what the cosplay was like last year's BlizzCon, this is another free one. This one's specifically World of Warcraft cosplay. It says check out the incredible detail and craftsmanship and dozens of World of Warcraft themed costumes from BlizzCon 2016. There's a BlizzCon Survival Shopper's Guide. It's also a free video. It says join Monica and Alex to check out this year's BlizzCon merch sale.
I want to step in for a minute on this one. Shout out to the person who I will not name their name specifically on the BlizzCon forums who got so offended by this video. They were basically saying that Blizzard's just trying to shove merchandise down our throats and that they're trying to be slick and underhanded and just constantly pull money out of our wallet. And I just want to remind that individual, Blizzard's not pulling any money out of your wallet. Vote with it. Okay, go ahead. Proceed, Greg.
That's Champion of the Week.
That was a nominee for sure. Nominee. I was thinking about it, but I was like, no, we have something better that really needs to be highlighted. So trust me, though, that was on my list.
All right, it's okay. We've got a few more here. Next one is the Music of Blizzard Part 3. Now, this will be the first one where you have to have the virtual ticket in order to watch this. It says Blizzard employees discuss their favorite in-game tunes and composers describe the process. That'd be a pretty interesting one to watch. Music has always been one of like the key things that I find interesting in Blizzard's games. So I'd like to see what the employees say are their favorite soundtracks. And last one here, Advanced Cosplay with Jackie Craft, Episode 4. This is also one you need to have the virtual ticket to watch. Says join Jackie as she assembles the headpiece and works on the wings and overall fit of her Mecha Queen costume. And those are all the big videos that were added for this week. Just again, they'll be adding new videos every week just to keep everyone entertained up until the actual convention.
Yeah, and I've only bought the virtual ticket one time before this, and that was the year that, unfortunately, I made the decision to not go to BlizzCon, and they announced Overwatch. This year seems like there's substantially more content in the virtual ticket and we're not even at the convention yet, and it seems like there's a lot of video content. So, people were pretty upset last week. We talked about this when the virtual ticket was announced. People were upset with the amount of content that the virtual ticket had last year. Definitely seems like Blizzard's done a good job of rectifying that, and as we mentioned when the schedule came out, anything on a stage will be available to virtual ticket holders. So the $40, definitely get their money's worth, especially with what we're about to talk about next.
Yeah, so next thing we got here, this is probably the most exciting news overall for the week, I would think, for anyone especially that's going to BlizzCon. And they announced all the different in-game bonus items that you can receive by either getting a ticket to BlizzCon or getting the virtual ticket. And a few of these we already knew about. So first one I'm going to start off with, just to remind everyone, is for World of Warcraft. We have the Stormwind Sky Chaser and the Orgrimmar Interceptor mounts. Again, those are both flying mounts, assuming that you have flying on your character. And I believe those ones, I haven't logged in a while, but are those able to get already?
Yeah, they actually were available when the virtual ticket got announced. So yes, you are able to, I think actually, yeah, that one's available now. So yeah, I tried out the Interceptors.
A few of these looks like are already available in game too. I'll be sure to let you guys know which ones they are. So then that's for World of Warcraft. Next one we have here for Overwatch. I know Kyle is going to be excited about this one, Winston being one of his guys he plays as. But there is a BlizzCon 2017 Winston skin. That is through the power of science, Winston found himself teleported into BlizzCon 2017 and picked up this souvenir skin to mark the curious occasion. And kind of like the Bastion skin from last year, we got the kind of the chromatic blue and silver plating on him. You got BlizzCon kind of just stamped right in the middle of his chest, and he's kind of got a little bit of a lighter tone to his skin. Oh, I say skin, but his skin and his hair, kind of like a whitish grayish look to him. And again, it looks like that one is available in game already. It says in game today for that.
Already rocking it. Love it.
Very nice.
I'm glad that we, I figured we're gonna get another skin. The Bastion one is cool, but I don't use Bastion ever, so I was glad. I knew I was like looking at my top, my top three. I primarily play tank. It's either Roadhog, Reinhardt, or Winston, and I knew it wasn't going to be a Roadhog skin because he's not. He people like him. He's not a banner character of Overwatch. He's not.
He's not the face of Overwatch. He's not Tracer or Winston.
Yeah, so I figured, I was like, oh man, hopefully it'll be Winston, and yeah, so I'm glad I'm already using it, and I've already used it quite a bit, so I'm just glad that I'm actually going to get some use out of this particular skin.
All right, so this next thing we got here, for those that still play some StarCraft 2, we got the StarCraft 2, the Junkrat SCV, Probe, and Drone skins, and that's another one that is available in-game today. This is from the BlizzCon.com. Says, discovered on the fringe worlds by the notorious Terran Junker gangs who scour the Caprulu sector for salvage, these scrappy SCVs, probes, and drones are retrofitted and ready to take on your dirty work. Now, just looking at these, kind of hard for me to tell. Kyle, you probably look at these more than I do. What's different appearance-wise for them?
Well, they're just like the biggest one that looks different is the drone. It's kind of, the Zerg, they're obviously, not mechanical units, but the drone kind of has these little saw blades on on the front where there would normally be some claws, just some other little metal kind of accents. Same thing with the probe and the SCV, just kind of junker, kind of, just equipped with some spikes and just some kind of Mad Max-esque kind of, or Junkertown, take your pick, that kind of motif, just kind of this kind of rusted out, kind of salvage, kind of metal accents. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd assume they're probably more noticeable in the actual game when you actually see them, moving and such.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell the difference just by looking at them, but I mean, I don't play enough StarCraft to be like, hey, that's what's different.
Yeah, the probe and I'd say the probe and the drones probably look the most different.
Yeah, I mean, I usually play Terran when I do play, and I can tell he doesn't usually have like that drill bit on the end, does he?
A little bit. I know that kind of that hose coming off the back is, there's spikes all over him. I think that's the biggest difference. I think they have a drill. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, for anyone listening, if you want to give your opinion on what you think they look like or their changes, you can always check out the pictures on BlizzCon.com. That's it for StarCraft, though, for in-game goodies. For next one, this is for Heroes of the Storm. This is probably, I would say, my favorite one that I've seen, mainly just because they haven't announced the Hearthstone one yet. They've announced the Nexus Razorback mount and a few other things as well. So you get the Nexus Razorback mount. You get a BlizzCon banner that has the mount's head kind of placed on the top. You get a portrait, and you get I don't know, what would you call it? Just a little picture.
You got the
spray.
Yeah, it's a spray. It goes on the ground.
Okay. So it says, charge into battle on the Nexus Razorback mount. Make your mark on the battlegrounds with a BlizzCon 2017 banner and cartoon Nexus Razorback spray, and show your convention spirit with your BlizzCon 2017 portrait. Now, this one, like I said, just looks pretty awesome. I'm a big collector of mounts in games, and I just like the way this one looks. Kind of got this like the metallic look to him. He's got a big like neon, like bluish turquoise, big mohawk going. His tusks are same color, and that's kind of the ongoing theme for the portrait, the banner, and the spray as well.
I like the banner, and I actually like the implementation that Blizzard's put for the banners in Heroes. Whenever you capture an objective, it'll place your banner there, and it'll actually have your name displayed above it. And the more elaborate ones I always think are really cool. Like I'm using one of the Overwatch ones, and it's got kind of a really elaborate piece on the top, kind of very Overwatch tech inspired, and then it's got the Overwatch logo on the front. It's got some banners coming down. So these are, this is probably, other than the Winston skin, this is probably my favorite. And the mount's cool. It does kind of have that. It's a little different than the previous mounts that they gave out for BlizzCon. Last year they gave out a Sabertooth mount, and then before that I think it was a Battle Beast. Those were a little bit more kind of like transparent energy looking. This is more kind of like just made out of metal, but it's still pretty cool. Outside of the Overwatch one,
I would say this one kind of reminds me the most. There's a mount that our friend Andy uses that's kind of like a metallic horse. It's not the. I think it might have like rainbow on it or something, but very similar to that.
Yeah, it was a good. It's pretty more, and it's still more substantial than what we got. In the past we've just gotten mounts or a portrait. So the fact that we got a mount, a portrait, a spray, and a banner is pretty cool.
Yeah, and unfortunately that one is not out yet. It just says coming soon, so I'm sure we'll be hearing that one in the coming weeks about when we'll be able to expect to be able to use those in game. We got 2 more things here. This next one for Diablo 3, rest in peace.
It's not dead. It's just hibernating.
Well, I guess the Murkrow Mouncer pet. Now this one, I've always liked the Murloc little things they put in there. They've been doing it ever since like the first. I remember this was before the first BlizzCon I went to, but one of the first things I remember seeing was an Orgrimmar. You could talk to one of the guys by one of the little fishing holes, and you could redeem like a code to get a Murloc suit. Like we could dress up as a Murloc. I don't know do you guys remember that at all?
Yeah, I thought wasn't that a BlizzCon thing that you could get, right?
Yeah, it was. But it was before. I think it was one of the ones before we went.
Yeah, I think it was like 2008 or something. It was the maybe even sooner than that. Yeah, you get a Murloc costume for your characters.
Yeah, and there's also like the Blizzard, the BlizzCon bear, the BlizzCon polar bear. I think was another one too.
Yeah, I had the Murloc on the front holding the flag, the BlizzCon flag.
Yeah, but it's always just been like a staple of BlizzCon that you know that you're gonna get some sort of Murloc, like either like a skin or a pet or something. And it's just an ongoing tradition they have, and it's cool to see that they're keeping it alive, especially with the dying franchise.
Now, again, the franchise isn't dead; it's just dormant. The Diablo 3, if you want to make the argument that it's dead, you can go ahead and say that. But I think there's actually some pretty good information in this description. Greg, why don't you read that for the audience?
I don't know if I can pronounce that.
Go for it.
It says, no one escapes the Burgle. I thought that was pretty good.
That was good.
Rumor has it that this necrotic aquatic companion can command an army of dead fish, which is about as useful as you'd think. Yeah, that's about right. That's about as useful as I would think. Right. Okay. And again, that's a coming soon one also. Hopefully they'll be able to have it come before the game is done.
Maybe that's what they'll announce at BlizzCon is when this pet will be available in the game.
That's going to bring everyone back in swarms.
Right,
okay, the last thing we got here, this one's a bummer. I mean, because Hearthstone's my go-to game right now, but it's a Hearthstone mystery goodie. All it shows is a picture of a golden Hearthstone card, and it says Golden Legendary, and it says arriving after BlizzCon, which is kind of a bummer. You would think they would have something ready to go, but either before or something you'd be able to get like just before. So I'm surprised that that's not something that they have good to go already.
I have a couple things to say on this, and I'm a total idiot. I was like, oh, maybe it's a card back. Well, if I looked at the picture, it's clearly not going to be a card back. Like you mentioned, it says it's a golden legendary. My guess is I think we're going to find out what this is at BlizzCon, and I think it's a spoiler for whatever they're announcing. So that's why we don't know what it is yet.
That's a pretty good guess. And to comment on the back, I mean, it could also very well be like a card back as well. I fully expect that might be something that they'll add, because I mean, if there's one thing Hearthstone is not shy about giving you for any reason whatsoever, is a card back. I mean, you get a new one for every different season of play. You get one for going to fireside gatherings. You get one for logging in to like Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm. So I fully expect there's going to be a special BlizzCon card back.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And I think we did get a golden legendary in the past. Was it an
Yeah,
ETC?
it was for when Hearthstone was for it was Elite Torn Chieftain.
Okay. Yeah, so it's probably gonna be something.
Which is kind of a bummer because for a while I thought that was going to be a BlizzCon exclusive, but then I looked and you can actually go on to the crafting and you can actually make one. So that was kind of lame. I thought that it was an exclusive, but not really.
Nick has some commentary on that, right, Nick? Customer loyalty?
They have no idea.
All right, is that all the news? I think that's it, right?
I think so, yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and continue with the show, and we are going to jump into the next segment. It's our brand new segment that we debuted last week. So let's go ahead and talk about
the champion of the week.
All right, so the champion of the week this week. This is actually a really cool story. I wish I would have seen it last week. That way I could have brought some attention to it, even if it was just a little bit. But our champion of the week this week is going to be Dravvie. She's the coordinator of the running of the Gnomes and the running of the Trolls. So I'd never heard about this, and apparently there's more of an actual event in World of Warcraft now. I actually think it might be going on right now. We may have gone over it when we talked about what's going on in WoW this month. But basically what we have is there is an event that's been running. I didn't see how long it's been going, but there is an event called the Running of the Gnomes, and it does mention Running of the Trolls, so maybe there's a Horde version that people do, or that another group does on Horde side. But what this is this was an event that actually ran yesterday on October 14th. It ran from at 4 p.m. Pacific, and what it is it's an event where basically everyone starts up a gnome character, and they run this little kind of path that they have kind of designated in the game. And basically what the whole point of this is it's to help benefit the Cleveland Clinic, which they're doing some research on a vaccine called the TUI vaccine, which they're hoping someday could help vaccinate against breast cancer and hopefully maybe eliminate it completely someday. So what they do is basically they went and all these tons of gnome characters ran this little track, and then they put up a fundraising page to help raise funds for the Cleveland Clinic. And the starting goal this year was $4,000, and they ended up raising $16,300 almost. So this event, unfortunately, like I mentioned, it's already over. But they also actually, they had the how do you pronounce the name of the gnome city, Greg? Is it Nomergon? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nomergon.
Okay, because they had the Nomergon micro holiday that also ran, and they actually used the same race course that all these gnomes use. At first, I was kind of wondering, like, why did they use gnomes for this particular event? And Dravvie explained that they did it because gnomes were one of the few races that have pink hair, and of course, we know that pink is the color for breast cancer awareness. So, like I mentioned, unfortunately, this is already over, but I think it's fantastic. It just shows the power of the community, and they're doing wonderful things, and this has been going on for a few years now. So hopefully I'm going to try to keep on it and make sure next year we can bring some awareness to it before next year's run, because it's pretty awesome.
And really quick, I'm going to jump in also on this one. Unless they change it for next year, it looks like that the event is only held on one server, and the server is the Scarlet Crusade server.
Oh, for the actual Blizzard event?
No, the running of the gnomes. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's only held on Scarlet Crusade.
Yeah, it's only held on the Scarlet Crusade server. So you can do it if you want to on your own, but you won't actually be doing it with other participants unless you log in to the Scarlet Crusade. It's a US server.
So yeah, it's already gone on. I've already seen a lot of pictures of it. tons of gnomes. I was kind of getting, I mean, it's great, but I was getting kind of nightmares from it a little bit. But if you go on Twitter and just look up hashtag GnomeRun2K17, you can see all kinds of pictures and videos, and it's just another fantastic, another fantastic example of people in the Blizzard community doing great things, for great causes.
Yeah, if you're participating in this too, you can always go on Twitter. Hashtag GnomeRun2K17 is what they're using if you want to post anything. So that'd be the way to go and do that. I mean, obviously it already happened, but if you have any videos or pictures you want to share, that's the way to do it. And Kyle may have already mentioned this. I don't quite remember hearing him say it, but they've already way surpassed their goal, and they've almost made $17,000 on this one event.
Yeah, and they apparently last year, just some statistics, they had almost 3,000 people run this, and they raised $5,000. So the fact that they almost tripled that. So it's just fantastic. So the more attention they can be brought to this, they can raise more money, and hopefully we'll have a way to get rid of breast cancer, hopefully in the next few years or so. So hats off to you, Dravvie. Thank you for doing that. That's just fantastic what you've done and how you brought people together for this wonderful cause, and we salute you, and that is why you are the champion of the week. Anyone else have anything to say?
Awesome job.
Yeah, and actually, this I did not personally know about, but it is definitely something I will be looking into probably every year after this year. For those that are close to me and know about my family and stuff, a lot of people in my family have had to deal with breast cancer. So it's something kind of near and dear to me. So the fact I didn't know about this is a bummer, but now that I do, I would definitely be kind of promoting this as much as possible.
Yeah, and if you want to check out everything that Dravvie's been working on, you can go to, she has her Twitter account that's at Dravvie. I'll spell it out, Dravvie, and that pretty much covers it. I never really rolled an alliance character. I mean, I think I've done it one time, but I will definitely be rolling a character next week, or not next week, next year. That way I can participate in this, because it's definitely something that needs to be highlighted. All right, so that's the champion of the week, and we have one more thing to close out the show. No topic of the show this week. I don't know. It's the dog days, but leading up to BlizzCon, like Greg said, there's a few news items, but we're just kind of don't have a lot to discuss. So what we're going to do is now we're going to talk about our very first Frozen Council giveaway for the podcast. This will be running from, let me see, what did I set the dates for the giveaway? So this is going to be starting at 6 o'clock. So as soon as this podcast goes up, this will be live. This podcast, or we're going to have the contest end on October 22nd at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to enter this giveaway, make sure you do it before then. What we're going to be giving away, since Nick is not terribly sentimental.
What are we giving away?
Oh, you know
Kyle's virginity.
Someday.
Oh.
No, but what?
Oh, Nick's intrigued.
No, but Nick knows what we're giving away, because this was actually his idea. He's not terribly attached to his BlizzCon 2016 goodie box. The only thing that he used in it was
my virginity as well.
Well, you can do that on your own time. I'm not going to go soliciting you, sir. I'm sure that's breaking some kind of law. But for those interested in this contest, we are going to be giving away Nick's BlizzCon 2016 goodie box. Just want to say up front, this does not include the in-game digital bonuses, so you will not be getting any of the digital items that were included last year. Nick did redeem that, but he doesn't want the physical stuff, so we're going ahead and going to give it away. Also want to say at the top of this explanation, the giveaway is only for people in the I almost said customers, for listeners in the United States. I'm not I mean, we'll maybe in the future we're going to look into maybe seeing what we can do for people from other countries if we're getting folks from other countries listening. But for now, this is just limited to people residents of the United States, 18 years of age or older, and again living in one of the 50 United States. So the BlizzCon 2016 goodie box includes the following items. It includes the BlizzCon X commemorative Stein, a World of Warcraft faction coaster, a Heroes of the Storm ETC guitar pick keychain, a Hearthstone microfiber tablet cleaning cloth, an Overwatch inflatable Reinhardt rocket hammer, a StarCraft 2 Baby Overlord antenna topper, and the infamous Diablo 3 gaming dice set, which those actually ended up being correct. They didn't have the misprint that led everyone to lose their mind and think we're going to get a Diablo 4 announcement last year. So you have 4 ways to enter. Actually, excuse me, 5 ways to enter. The first is to follow @FrozenCouncil on Twitter. That is a requirement to enter the contest. The second requirement is to retweet the tweet for the contest. And then you actually have the ability to earn some extra entries. Those optional actions for extra entries are to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which we're going to start trying to. We're definitely going to be putting the podcast episodes up every week on YouTube going forward. I'm going to work on getting the back episodes up. We're also going to start putting some gaming highlights from each of us, as well as we're going to clip out our segments so you can subscribe to us on YouTube. And then we have 2 additional extra actions that you can get entries for. Those are I'm going to say the bonus word right now. So it's going to ask you about a bonus word that we mentioned on the episode. That, in honor of Dravvie, that bonus word is gnomes. So if you enter gnomes in as the bonus word, that'll give you an additional entry. And then the last option for extra entry is to let us know what you're looking forward to from BlizzCon, either what you would hope will be announced for your favorite game or games, or what you realistically expect will be announced. So there is a link to the giveaway on the I'm going to put up on Twitter and all the different social media channels. It will be on the frozencouncil.com, so if you go there, you can find the giveaway post. And so we'll get the word out there, and someone's going to end up with the goodie box. Our goal at this point is to have that shipped out by November 1st. We will announce the winner of the goodie box on the episode next week. So we will get the word out to whoever wins, ask them for their address, and we will have that shipped. So,
and a quick clarification, it is for the bonus word, it is gnomes with an S, not gnome by itself.
Oh yeah, thank you. Gnomes, plural. GNOMES. That's the bonus word. And that'll get you an extra entry. We'll have all the then the deadline again to enter is October 22nd at 12 p.m. Pacific time. We will announce the winner later that day. So with that, that's the last thing we have for the week. We will be back next week. That's when we'll be announcing the winner of the giveaway, as well as having our BlizzCon special with our predictions of what we expect to happen at this year's convention. If there's any notable news items, we'll go into that. But other than that, that will be a BlizzCon only episode. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for everyone in advance who listens in. We can be followed on Twitter at Frozen Council. We also have our individual accounts as always. Mine's Oyster Prime. Jeff's is Lore Master J. Greg's is Bay_Greg. Nick's is Tap Dancing Kitty. And Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Instagram, since I've given you the reins on that. Or, well, I mean, you guys are all. I'm the only one not working on it, but you're kind of tuned in on that. So, where can people find us on Instagram?
Okay, I feel like this is a quiz every time, and I think because we always get it reversed or something, I start to double check myself. But I think it's the Frozen Council. Let me double check. Yeah, the Frozen Council at the Frozen Council on Instagram. Trying to get a lot of videos, pictures, stuff posted. Check us out there, and hopefully we'll get some more outings and stuff, videos up there too.
Okay, so we got Twitter and Instagram. I already mentioned the YouTube channel. And am I missing anything? I think that's it, right?
Don't forget to follow us on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio.
Okay, yeah, see, that's where our podcast can be located. And also, we do have our website. It's www.thefrozencouncil.com. Or if you'd like to shoot us an email, we can be reached at thefrozencouncil@gmail.com. So that pretty much does it for us. Again, this is Kyle Flory, and for Nick Kennedy, Greg Bay, and Jeff Flory, I thank you all for listening in. Make sure to get on that goodie box giveaway and get your entries in. We'll announce who wins that in a week, and we will see you next time.